Okay, today I'm going to show you how to build a service credit system inside of your membership site so you can have additional services that you can sell, and I'll show you how I built it inside the lab. So inside the lab, which is my membership site, we have a service credit system. And so we do the standard thing where people get access to courses and all that, like most membership sites. But there's two service options in there. One is for coaching calls, and the other is for technical service work. If you want us to go in there and basically do some stuff on your website and kind of remove the tech stuff off your plate. Now, but instead of doing like a recurring thing for coaching, I do it on a credit-based system. So you can purchase credits and they sit there on the member account, and then they can use them whenever they would like. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you exactly how that system is built. Now, the reason you might want to do this should be obvious, but that is that it's an additional things that you can sell. You can also sweeten up your offers. It provides you an opportunity for back-end sales on your membership site. I mean, a membership site is really one of the best business platforms that there is for the type of business that we're in with WordPress. And, so having a credit-based system inside the site can present a lot of opportunities for you. So let's go to the screen and I'm going to show you how it's built. Real quick before I forget, I'm not under any illusions that you're going to be able to just simply watch this video and build the whole thing. Now keep in mind, the written portion of this post is going to have a lot more detail, including some code that you can copy and paste for those portions of it that you need it, okay? That being said, keep in mind that everything that I'm about to show you, I can actually help you build it, okay? Because, I mean, as you're about to see, I sell technical service credits as well. So one thing that you can consider is that if you want this, but what I'm about to show you just kind of went over your head, that you could just have us do it. And I'll give you some instructions at the other end of this video if you want to take me up on that. All right, let's go back to the screen. Let's show you. First, let's cover the tools that are needed to do this, okay? And keep in mind, this is the way that I am doing it, okay? So first of all, we're going to have a few custom fields here that I put together with advanced custom fields. So this is a really, really handy plugin for really customizing WordPress and doing all kinds of cool stuff with it. So I use advanced custom fields. Another one is WP Fusion. This is basically the Swiss Army knife of plugins for anybody doing any kind of marketing with WordPress. It's one of the most valuable plugins that I have. WP Fusion is awesome. And so basically what it does is it fuses your WordPress site with pretty much any external system. As it says, connect WordPress to anything, in which case, in this particular case, I'm going to be using it to connect it to Drip, which is the CRM that I use for my email list. Now, keep in mind, you don't need to be using Drip. Okay, you could be using some other platform as long as it has the right automation capability. Like, for example, if you're using ActiveCampaign, it will certainly work with no problem. Okay, and then lastly, I make actual sales on my site using Thrivecart. Thrivecart is a really, really powerful system. It's currently available on a lifetime plan, which is really, really cool. Makes it a really solid investment. That being said, if you don't use Thrivecart, it probably would not matter for you to use almost any other system out there, as long as you can charge them the money for the credits, and as long as you can trigger an automation inside your CRM. If you're using something like WooCommerce, you'll be perfectly fine. It does not have to use Thrivecart. It's just that's what I'm using. Now what I'm going to do is, on the video portion here, I'm just going to show you an overview of how it's put together. The truth is, there is some code that's going to be necessary here, and so some of the details of doing this is going to be actually below. If you're on my site right now watching this video, then below you'll actually find the gory details. It's actually not that gory. The cool thing about this setup is that we're basically using these tools out of the box. There's very little actual customization necessary, but those few items where there actually is a little bit of code used, in my particular case, that code is below. And so if you're on youtube.com right now and you're watching this video there, you'll find the link to the blog post below. You can click on over, go over to Blog Marketing Academy, and you can get the details over there. What I'm going to do, let's go back to screen and let me show you an overview of how this is put together. First things first, with advanced custom fields, is we need to create the custom fields for the actual credit. So this is the back end of the lab. You can see I've got a bunch of different custom field groups set up, but the one we're looking for, I simply called it member credit. So you'd create a field group called member credits. If we go ahead and go to edit for that, you'll see that I've got a few in here. One is for tech service credits, and it's a simple text field. So if we open this up, you'll just see that it's a text field. This is just going to literally hold their balance of technical service credits. Same thing for strategy call credits. So these are just simple fields. I've got one in there for platinum coaching credits, but I don't really use that so much on the public side, so you can ignore that. Now, these two are repeater fields, okay? One's for call history, one is for the tech credit debit. So basically, this is a way where we can actually log how we're debiting off of their balance so that they don't know, they don't have to remember where their credits were spent. So if we open up one of these for, say, call history, once again, it's a repeater field, and the fields in there, one is for the call date, which is the date that we actually spoke, how much I debited, so that's usually a value of 1, and then call description would just be a general, very short description of what we did on that particular coaching call. And so this repeater field is going to show up on the front end. I'll show you that in a minute, where they will actually get a history of our coaching calls together. And if we close that, we've got a very similar setup here for tech credit so that they can actually see where their credits were spent. Now, this field group is designed here under location to show up on the user form on both the add and edit screen, and only for administrators, okay? Which really, we're the only people that ever access to WordPress anyway back here, but that makes sure that it will show up on a user profile. And just to show what it looks like on one of the user screens, here we go. Under member credits, we've got one member that has 2 credits on his account right now. You can see we've done a bunch of work. These are the repeater fields for call date, credit change, which each time we take off 1, and then a quick description of what was done. And we've got the same thing under here, under the tech credit. So that's basically what it looks like when you're actually doing this on the front side. The next thing you're going to want to do is synchronize those credit balance fields back to your CRM. That way you can use it to trigger emails and do stuff like that. So that's where WP Fusion comes in, okay? What we're going to want to do is we're going to want to sync those 2, in my case 2, balance fields over to Drip, okay? So the first thing you would need to do is you would need to go to Drip, and you want to go to your custom fields, and you want to create custom fields for your credit balances. I'm not going to see, here's one somewhere here, probably this one is credit strat calls. The way Drip works is you have to give them these simplistic names, but if you're using Active Campaign, you could just name it. It doesn't matter what it's called. Just make sure that for any balance field of credits over in WordPress, that you have a corresponding field inside of your CRM. Now let's go back to WP Fusion. What you would want to do if you just created those 2 fields is hit the refresh button here, so that will re-download from your CRM your available tags and those custom fields, okay? And then what you want to do is you want to go to contact fields, and if you scroll down here, you'll see under advanced custom fields that we've got text service credits and strategy calls, and I have them mapped over here to the correct fields over inside of Drip. Oops, that looks like I just closed that. So, and that's what it is. Once you've done that and you've saved it, then it's a full 2-way integration between WordPress and the CRM. That means if I change their credit balance inside of Drip, it will update over here inside of WordPress. And likewise, if I change their credit balance here inside of WordPress, it will update Drip. So it's full 2-way synchronization. Okay, so the next step is to sell those credits and make sure that you add a credit to their account when they purchase one, okay? So I am using Drip and I'm using Thrivecart, so that's what I'm going to show you. But keep in mind that if you're using a different CRM, that's fine as long as it can do the proper automation. And as far as how you want to process the cards, that's up to you. You could use WooCommerce, you could use anything else as long as you can trigger the proper automation in your CRM. The basic simplicity of it is that you are selling the credits using whatever system that you're using to process credit cards. And then as long as you can increment that credit balance inside your CRM by 1 or however many credits they just purchased, that's all you really need to do, because WP Fusion will automatically synchronize that back to WordPress. So let's go back to my screen and let me show you how mine is put together. Okay, over here inside of Thrivecart, I've got one of my products is the technical service credits, which is one of the credit types that we're doing. And we don't need to cover pricing and all that because the important part here for our purposes is under behavior rules. This is where you actually set up what you want Thrivecart to do after they purchase something. So in this case, I'm adding it to a workflow inside a drip. Okay, now you can see it looks like it's 3 times, and I'll show you why in just a minute. If we open this up, I actually have packages where you can either purchase 1 credit, you can purchase 3 credits, or 5 credits at a time. And I offer them discounts if they purchase more than 1. So this particular option that we've got opened up here, they're buying 3 credits, okay? So if they buy 3 credits, I'm going to add them to a workflow inside a drip called Purchase Tech Service. And the little TC is just an internal thing, so I know that I'm triggering this from Thrivecart. I'll show you that workflow in just a minute. Now, it's also applying a tag called BuyTech3. So it doesn't matter what your tag is, but the reason I'm doing this is so that I know which package that they're using, because every one of the 3 pricing options is adding them to the same workflow, but I add a different tag depending on which one, and that's so that when they get over to Drip, it knows how many credits to add to their field. Okay, so let's go back to Drip and let me show you that particular automation. Okay, so this is that workflow for purchasing tech service, and you can see that we are using those tags. One is for buy tech 1, that's if they bought 1 credit. Down here is for 3 credits. Down here is for 5 credits. Now we're essentially doing the exact same stuff for each one. It's just that we are sending them a different email response, and we're doing, of course, adding the appropriate amount of credits to their field. And so you can see this one, we're actually changing the custom field. Let's see if we can open this up and make it visible. We're setting a custom field. I pick that is the custom field itself, which is their tech service. And then I got to use this little formula here using liquid templating to actually go +1. Now I want to be clear, this is the way the Drip does it. It's quite frankly a little bit nerdy. I wish it was better. I wish it was a simple number field and I could just tell it to increment it. That's not the way Drip works. I have to use this little formula. If you want help, if you want to copy and paste that formula, go back to blogmarketingacademy.com, look at the blog post that goes with this, and you can literally copy and paste it. If you're on ActiveCampaign, it's actually simpler because they actually do have the ability to increment those things right there in the interface, so that makes it simpler. So whatever CRM you're using, you'll need to see what the best way is to increment it. In this case, by 1 credit, in this case, by 3 credits. This is what you can do for package deals, okay? And then what I do is I record an event in their contact log, just saying they just purchased tech service. I send them an email thing that says, hey, you just purchased 3 tech credits. It's on your account. Thank you very much, blah, blah, blah. And then I remove that tracking tag, in this case, BuyTech3, in this case, BuyTech1, because it's obviously just used for internal purposes. I don't need to keep that tag on their profile because it's of no use anymore, okay? And so that's basically what we do in the automation. And at that point, it will trigger and it will add the appropriate credits. It will email them an acknowledgement. And then, of course, WP Fusion is going to do what it does, and it's going to synchronize it. And then it's going to be over in WordPress too. So it's pretty automated. Okay, at this point, you now pretty much have a credit system built and you're selling them. The thing is now we got to look at the delivery side of it. How do people actually use those credits? Now, below in the actual written post that goes with this, I'm going to show you exactly how mine is put together. But I want to be clear that you first need to understand the simplicity of what we're doing. We are going to show content based on whether they have a positive balance or not. That's essentially it. And we're going to use some WP Fusion shortcodes in order to actually do that. Okay, WP Fusion can show or hide content based on various things, including those custom fields. So that's what we're going to be using. Now, in my case, I use Thrive Architect as a page builder, and so I do things like that. Now, if you're using something like Elementor, Elementor has an actual integration with WP Fusion, so it's actually easier to do conditional stuff. So, for example, If they have a positive balance on their coaching call credits, you might want to show them your calendar so they can actually schedule a call with you. Whereas if they have a zero balance, you would want to say, hey, you don't have any credits, maybe you should go purchase some. And so you got that conditional content that you need to display based on whether they've got that balance or not. So how you actually do this is going to be based on what tools that you use. I'm using Thrive Architect, and I'm going to be making use of the short codes that come with WP Fusion, and let's go show you. Okay, so this is the page inside the lab that people will go to when they want to book a call with me, but I've got it opened up inside of Thrive Architect, so it looks different in here because we've got all these short codes and things going on. I'm not expecting you to be able to just easily recreate this. It's going to be different for every situation. First of all, I do put this shortcode in here from WP Fusion called WPF Update Meta. That basically triggers WP Fusion to synchronize their custom fields right when they visit this page. And the reason I do that is because I want to make sure that this page is always working on the most updated information. I don't want there to be a situation where I just updated their credit balance over in Drip and WordPress doesn't know about it yet. And then this thing is talking to them all wrong. And so I trigger an update right there at the beginning using the shortcode to make sure that it's going to definitely be accurate. Now, in my case, you can see I'm using a shortcode called call credits, and this is a custom shortcode. If you want to have the PHP code that makes that work, go to the written portion of this post and you can literally copy and paste the entire thing. But that's how it works. Now, keep in mind for these conditionals, it's basically, in this case, it's acting as if you do not have any credits yet. That's why status is equal to 0. And then I talk to them as if they don't have any credits yet. And you can see that I'm directing them to go purchase some. And then I end that off, and then I call credits status equals 1. Then in my short code, I'm basically saying, well, they actually do have some credits, and now I'm talking to them as if they do have some credits. I tell them how many credits they have, etc., etc. And then when they get down here, schedule your call. This custom HTML block, you can't see it, but essentially this is my Calendly. This is my embedded Calendly calendar where they can actually schedule a call with me. But it's all surrounded in this page by these conditional shortcodes that will only show them the calendar if they have a positive balance. If they don't, they will not see my calendar. They will see these invitations to go and purchase credits. Okay, so that's how that works. Now keep in mind with this is a custom shortcode. The code is below. Now, since I originally built this, WP Fusion has been updated so that they actually have shortcodes now that are actually capable of doing logic on the custom fields, which is really cool. I did not have that when I built it. So now, if you go below in the written post too, you'll actually see, you can copy and paste it, but the shortcode that will actually have WP Fusion do this automatically without having to create your own custom shortcode. If we look here at the written portion of this post, this is using the code for my custom shortcode. This is literally the PHP code that powers it, okay? Now, these fields here for get field, these are custom functions that work with advanced custom fields. So it literally just pulls their field called strategy calls, which is their credit balance, and that's how it works, okay? So, but you don't need to use that because if you scroll down just a little bit further, you'll see that there's actually code here that we'll use as user meta if, which is actually a short code that's built right into WP Fusion. And you can essentially have it do the same thing. It will look at the strategy calls field. It will look to see for a value of 1, and it will use this comparison of greater than or equal. So basically, as long as they have a a value there that is greater than or equal to 1, in other words, a positive balance, that it would show whatever conditional content that you have, in which case you probably would embed your calendar so they can actually book something with you. Now, I'm also sharing with you a few other WP Fusion shortcodes in here, like this one. This is if they're a member or not, okay? And so we look at the tag. I use a tag called member active, and that tells me that they are a pro member of the lab versus a free member of the lab. And so that's the short code that you can hide or display things based on tags. If I want to address them by name, we just pull that custom field, which is called meta fields essentially in WordPress lingo. So user meta, first name. If I want to show them their actual credit balance, then I would just pull user meta. The field name is strategy calls, and wherever I put that short code, it will just show them their credit balance. Okay, so you can kind of see how it's put together, but just keep in mind that it may be a little bit different depending on your situation and the tools that you're using. But essentially, these WP Fusion shortcodes are going to be your meal ticket, so to speak. Okay, so we're going to stop there in this video because it's already getting long enough. If you want more information about the other features of the system, that in my case would involve displaying that call log, because I showed you that repeater field where we have a log there. Well, in order to show that on the front end, it requires a little bit of custom code. So the written portion of this post below will actually have that code, so you can actually display that. I also show you the automations for sending them an automatic email when their balance is updated and stuff like that. And so you can go to the written portion and get those details. I don't want to get too long with the video, longer than we already have. So that's pretty much how it's put together. It gives you a lot of flexibility. It allows you to sell services on your membership site as for back-end offers. It allows you the possibility of running special offers where if they sign up for your membership within a certain time frame, you might give them some number of credits as a bonus, which could be a pretty cool idea. Another thing that you could do is, and it'd be really easy actually if you were using like WooCommerce or something, but you could make it work with any of them, is that you could gamify your entire membership site using something like GamiPress, and they can actually earn points by actually being engaged with your membership site. And then when they reach a certain number of points, you can automatically add a credit to their balance for service where they don't have to pay for it. So there's a lot of cool things that you could do using a system like this. And I've shown you here how it's built inside the lab and how you could put it together yourself. Now, to that end, I know that some of you, there's nothing about what I just showed you that I'm not under any illusions that you're going to be able to just watch this video and automatically go and build it. If you already have some experience with a little bit of the technicals of WordPress and marketing automation tools in general, then you could probably do it. You've probably got a few light bulbs and you can go and do it, which is totally cool. If you're in a situation where I just overwhelm the crap out of you, well, keep in mind, obviously I sell technical service credits. And so one option that you can consider is to have me build it for you. So you can actually go and you can purchase technical service at blogmarketingacademy.com. And as long as you have the right tools in place, we can basically put this system together on your membership site, and so that you don't have to deal with it. If I know the question's going to come up on like, what's the estimate on that? How long is it going to take? Every site's a little bit different. It sort of depends on your tools, but if I had to guess, it probably would take about 3 credits to get the job done. So if you purchased a 3 credit package, more than likely it's enough. Keep in mind that any credits that you purchase, they don't expire. So if they're not used for this, you can use them for something else later or whatever. Okay. It's a pretty flexible system. So anyway, that is how to build a credit-based system. Hopefully that was helpful. For all the gory details, look below at the written portion because there's code you can copy and paste and stuff like that. If you have any questions at all, feel free to ask and I'll do my best to get back to you. Okay, talk to you later.